I have such a fun guest today and can't wait to bring him on. Before I do, I am Robin Klein, the founder and owner of Klein & Company Travel Consulting, your go-to source for custom curated travel experiences. I also have a gift for anybody that signs up today to become a Klein & Company Insider. You'll see the website address scrolling across the bottom here in just a second. Just go to the website and there will be a pop-up where you can just enter your name and email address and you will get a complimentary luxury sample itinerary delivered to your inbox and then some good information every week thereafter. So if you decide you want to try it and then decide you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe. So the other thing is please ask questions. Love to have questions. And that way too, if you're watching the replay later, go ahead and put those questions in the chat and I will answer them at a later date, or Chris will answer them at a later date. So now that I've said who we have coming on, I am going to go ahead and introduce him and bring him on here right now. Hey, Chris.
Hello. Hey, Robin. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Thank you.
Great. Well, I will, as we're talking today, I am going to, a few times in the conversation, stop and remind people to type questions in the inbox because we want people to ask away. But we have something really exciting to talk about today. That is the brand new ship in the Quark Expeditions fleet, the Ultramarine, and cannot wait to get these pictures and video and everything up here so that we can talk about why the Ultramarine is so special. But before we do that, will you explain why Quark Expeditions is special first, being that you only do polar expeditions?
Absolutely. Well, that was a bit of a spoiler there, Robin, but you are correct. So for the last 3 decades, Quark Expeditions has specialized in taking travelers, much like the people that would work with you, the Klein & Company insiders, to some of the most remote and most pristine places on Earth. Where we specifically travel, the only places we travel are the polar regions. So Antarctica and also regions in the Arctic, such as Greenland, the North Pole, Canadian Arctic, Svalbard, which is known as the realm of the polar bear, and so much more. And as the exclusive operators in the polar regions, we have a tremendous history. We have a fleet of perfectly suited polar vessels. They're all small, under 200 passengers, so they're intimate. We're taking you to often uninhabited places at the far remote end of the world, and nobody does it better than Quark Expeditions. So I'm really glad that you asked that question. So if people left here today with nothing else, know that we are the leader in polar adventures because we've been doing it longer than just about anybody else.
Well, and I want to remind people that are watching too that I did a month or so ago a live with Alex McNeil from Cork, and we talked about Greenland. So we have on our YouTube channel the recording of that. So if after today you're really intrigued about Cork, go look up that interview with Alex as well, because he was a fabulous guest too. So okay, so what I'm going to do here is I am going to put this video up on the screen. I am going to hide myself. I'm going to play a little bit of the video. When I stop the video, then you and I'll put up some pictures and we'll continue on the conversation about it. Okay?
Great. Fantastic.
All right, here we go. Takes me a minute to move everything around. All right. Of course it's going to buffer.
For 3 decades, we've been defining the frontiers of polar exploration.
Okay, give it a second.
We've achieved many milestones and realized many firsts.
Well,
but we've never stopped wondering what was out there, beyond the horizon. One day we asked ourselves,
we can't have
what would it
happen.
take to get into the unknown? The answer to that question
Maybe we can.
is Ultramarine.
All right.
Our
Well,
game-changing new vessel designed to go beyond the
non-cooperative
predictable
internet.
in polar expedition.
all right. We'll come back to that. We're gonna go on. We're gonna go on to pictures. So
Yeah,
okay. Well,
absolutely.
we'll try to come back to the video. But okay. So here she is. Tell us why the Ultramarine is so special.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I'll preface first by saying that I'm kind of like a proud father. Everybody in Quark Expeditions is just so excited for the arrival of Ultramarine. As mentioned before, Quark Expeditions has been exploring the polar regions for over 30 years. But with this brand new game-changing ship, this is where we become, for the first time in our history, ship owners. This is the first time that we have got to design what we feel is the ultimate polar vessel for exploring these areas. We have been able to spare no expense and cut no corner to make her just the state of the art for the polar regions. Because this ship will not be going to places like the Mediterranean and the South Pacific, we are able to really design just a perfectly polar vessel. As you might have seen in that first image, we have 2 twin-engine helicopters allowing people to get further and faster into the destinations than ever before, and nobody else offers that. Everybody sailing on the ship will have the included helicopter sightseeing.
Oh wow.
She also has, as I said before, we are the leader in polar adventures. We offer more off-ship activities in the polar regions than anybody else, and she has the largest selection of them. From much like you see here, Zodiac cruising, which are what those folks in the back in the black Zodiac boat are doing, to even kayaking and really getting up close and personal with nature.
Wow.
We offer more of it than anybody else, and this ship has more of it than any other ship, and even in our fleet.
Oh my gosh. And then obviously you get dropped off on land, whether it be by helicopter or by Zodiac, or kayak yourself there.
Exactly. The exclusive heli landings get you places that would be inaccessible any other way. And to be able to have this kind of vantage point in a place like Antarctica is really unique.
Wow. I'm going to remind our viewers to go ahead and type your questions in. We want to know what answers we can give you to questions about this fabulous new ship. And okay, and so we were just talking about helicopters, and I'm going to say one thing here. I have recently had a couple of opportunities to take some helicopter excursions, and man, there is just no better way to get that bird's eye view and really see so much that's going on around you. So this to me is really special, that this is something you can do.
Yeah, it's a perspective that we so rarely get in our everyday lives. I mean, well, especially for the last year or so, but
Yeah.
to be able to see everything, as you put it perfectly, Robin, the bird's eye view, to be able to see the ship from that perspective. I mean, when you're on the ship, it's not a large ship, but you feel it's there. But when you step back on and are in those helicopters and you see it against the backdrop of these immense glaciers and this wide open expanses of the polar regions, there's not another sign of civilization in sight. Only then do you really realize where our position in the world really is, and just how
Exactly.
insignificant we are in a way.
Exactly. No, that's exactly right, and that was my experience too. And I can't wait to do this and have this experience. But it does give you just such incredible perspective. And so here we're looking at how you launch the Zodiac. So tell us a little about that.
Yeah, so one of the things that we were able to design into this ship, again, to make her just the ultimate polar exploration vessel, is these water level Zodiac embarkation points. There are 4 points where you board the Zodiacs on board Ultramarine, which means that we can get you off safer and faster than we could in the past because, sometimes if the conditions are not right on one side of the ship, we have to move the operations to the other. That can take time. But with 4 possible options, we can not only load the Zodiacs and unload the Zodiacs faster, but we have more options for safety. There's actually a really other interesting benefit to this as well, is most other ships will keep those Zodiac rafts up on the top. And
Uh-huh.
so before disembarking the ship, those all have to be craned down one by
Yeah.
one to the water. And if there's wind, if the sea is picking up, that actually can be delayed or halted for the time being until things calm down. Because we can launch them right from the water level, it allows us to get off the ship faster. And because we do strive to get you off the ship at least twice a day or more, if there's something really amazing to witness, this just enables us to do it in a way that we have never been able to do it before.
Well, that's amazing too, because I'm sure if there's something going on that you want to take advantage of quickly, I know a lot of times in nature, wildlife, and other kinds of sightings, by the time you get all of those Zodiacs off and everybody on, the moment may have passed. So that's pretty
Exactly.
incredible.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
So yeah. So okay, so let's move inside because I mean, as special as she is on the outside, I was absolutely blown away, wowed by these pictures because in my own mind, when I think of polar and expedition and things like that, I don't think of a cabin that looks like this. So tell me about it.
In the past, if you wanted to travel to these parts of the world, very often you were sacrificing the comfort level of the accommodations for the capability of the ships. With Ultramarine, it's the best of all the worlds. This is an example of one of the what we would call an entry level cabin category. This is one of the balcony suites. There are 102 suites altogether on the ship. The maximum number of passengers on board will be 199. And this is one example of what would be the entry level. And as you notice, it's some of the largest cabins of a ship in her class, a ship her size, to have cabins that are this spacious with this kind of view. It's
Wow.
really incredible because, we know you spend all day out and off the ship exploring the incredible areas that we visit. But when you come back, you want to kick back and relax in the comfort of your suite. And that's what we have designed these to do for you.
Well, it is beautiful, and it looks like it's probably 3 or 4 times the size of the Disney one I shared with my husband and 2 children. And I haven't been on a cruise since then. So this is convincing me I might have to change that.
This is about 323 square feet, by
Oh,
the way.
nice.
So, if anybody's cruised before, that's a really good size for a
Yes.
cruise ship cabin.
Yes, and this looks really special. And it looks like you have tables of different sizes and so forth, which is nice too. You're not just have a bunch of big long tables where everybody's kind of doing the family style thing. So tell us about the culinary experience and the dining.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, 2 things I really would love to point out in this image, by the way. Even though you are in an interior space in the dining room, if you notice, all of our public spaces will always have these large windows designed to bring the outside in,
Yeah.
because you don't travel all the way to these places to stare at the same 4 walls. So while you are eating in the comfort of the dining room, having a magnificent dinner, chef prepared meal with a variety of entree choices and multiple courses, enjoying the included beer or wine with dinner, you can still take in these spectacular views.
Mm.
The other thing that you pointed out that is a really interesting concept that we offer is the tables of multiple sizes. We offer an open dining plan, so this way you can choose. You can either have a table to yourself, you can mix with some of the other passengers. But one thing that Quark Expeditions does that's a little bit unique is even our onboard teams, the expedition staff members, they don't just sit to a table off to the side separately from the guests. They don't retire to a separate dining room. They actually will dine around and they'll sit at a different table every meal so that they get to know all of the guests. And with the industry's best ratio of expedition leader, those experts, to passengers, there's one for every 7 passengers, you really get a lot of opportunity to interact and learn. And after all, that's probably what brought you to the polar regions, to Antarctica or Greenland. It's a curiosity. And so to have access
Absolutely.
to those folks is just incredible.
Yeah, no, that is really special. And I'm going to remind again for folks to type in questions to the chat because we've had several more people jump on here and want you all to know that anything you want to know about Ultramarine, Quark's new expedition polar vessel, type it in there. And we do have a question about
Sure.
diet, as far as what about people that are, vegan or vegetarian or have special dietary needs? How is that handled?
As long as we know ahead of time, we can handle just about any dietary need, whether it be a religious or cultural accommodation, a an allergy, or a special dietary concern. We can handle just about anything. When I was traveling on another one of our ships with a few folks who were vegan, a few folks who were ovo-lacto vegetarians, and actually a few folks who were had nut allergies. All were well accommodated. They were all well taken care of, and the vegans. Actually, sometimes they find that they're lacking in options elsewhere in the world. With Quark Expeditions, the vegans were absolutely pleased and impressed with what was available for them.
Excellent. Excellent. That's good. That is really good to know because that is getting to be more and more important. So now I love this. I love this picture here because it just sort of like just tells the whole story. And we don't need to go too far in depth because I am going to show a picture next of the area where you get ready before you leave the ship. But, just tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here in preparation for that next slide.
Sure. This is the entryway to what we call the Polar Boutique. This is so much more than just a gift shop. This is our onboard shopping center, which contains gear, should you not have it when you arrive to the ship. I should back up, by the way. All those yellow parkas that you've seen in all of our pictures, you can even see on the my coworker behind me. Those yellow parkas are included for everybody. They are yours to keep. They're waiting for you when you arrive, so no need to pack a parka. Knee-high rubber boots are also included for your use. You do leave those behind, but unlike some other companies, we do not require you to rent them. They are provided. But
Oh,
let's
well,
say
I'm sad I don't get to take those with me. They look really fashionable.
they're about as fashionable as any other knee-high rubber boot, but yeah,
But fully functional. I mean, you
fully
absolutely
functional. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
you gotta have those. So yeah, so speaking of all that, and I'm sorry if I cut you short, feel free to go back there. But so you have a special area where people go to get ready when you're gonna leave the ship.
Exactly. So with any gear, whether it's gear that you brought or gear that you purchased in the shop, let's say you lost a glove or you need another pair of socks, that's all available in there as well. When it actually comes time to get off the ship, we come here. This is called a ready room. You might also call it a mud room for lack of a better term.
Okay. Yep.
This is where you store your parka, you store your boots, and prior to disembarking from the ship, this is where you get ready. You get all suited and booted, I like to say,
Yep.
and you can't see it, but off to the right of this image is where you enter that water level Zodiac hangar. So
Okay.
right from here, you get right onto the Zodiacs. When you come back, this is your place to take off your parka, take off your boots, which might be a little bit wet, and you don't have to bring them up to your cabin with you. You just leave them
Nice.
here. They're right where you left them. And, even during dinner, we might say, folks, let's say we're in Greenland. Let's use that for an example. Folks, the northern lights are starting. If you'd like to get on the Zodiacs and witness them from the water level, come on down to the ready room, grab your stuff, and let's go.
Oh,
And we
what
can
fun.
absolutely do that. Yeah.
Oh man, that sounds wonderful. So now, being the kind of traveler that I am, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to be out there, and I'm probably not going to be as cold as I would be if I brought my own gear, but I'm probably still going to be a little cold because I kind of think when it's below 60 degrees, it's cold.
Sure.
So, so I'm thinking I'm going to head to the sauna after that, and this looks unbelievable.
This is probably the most talked about feature when I'm doing presentations and when I'm showing this ship to people. This is the wow factor for most of them. This is the sauna. It's hard to tell in this image, but there are actually two windows like that. So we see one, and then there's a second one that are essentially floor to ceiling. And
Mm.
again, we talked about these are traditionally interior spaces, but you still want to bring the outside in. So you could be sitting here in the sauna, taking what we would call in the New York and New Jersey area where I live, a schwitz
Yeah.
and a steam, and enjoying the incredible scenery. I
Ah,
will answer a question before anybody asks it because I
okay.
get asked it every single time. People say, if I'm sitting here in my towel, can anybody see in? And I have a couple answers for that. Number one, you're higher up on the ship, so it's not quite water level, and the windows are tinted from the outside. Number
Okay.
two, the only thing that might possibly see you otherwise would be a penguin, and it would have to fly to get up that high. And good news, penguins don't fly, so
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
fine.
Exactly. Or unless the helicopter pilot, just feels like really, surprising somebody, but I don't think he'd keep
We
his job
promise
for
we
very
won't buzz the
long.
ship while you're in
Yeah.
there. Don't worry.
Yeah, that wouldn't go over well. So, and you have a full-fledged spa.
Yeah, so this is
Perfect.
actually just footsteps from the sauna itself. You can see it in the background of this image. This is where you essentially get ready for either to go into the steam room, to prepare for one of your spa treatments. It's just a place to relax, unwind, kind of get into the more zen and more wellness mindset.
Mhm.
So this is like really your oasis away from all the adventure and the excitement. You still have, again, I know I keep saying it, but you have just these incredible views, and you just sit back and relax and kind of bring it down a level and
Mm.
lower your breathing and just
I
prepare
can
for that relaxation of your spa treatment.
I can see myself there. I can imagine that. Okay, so we're back at the beginning. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to see if we can get the video to cooperate with us this time, and if we can't, we'll just do like we did before and wing it. So
Sure.
nope. Darn.
It,
Okay.
it is playing here smoothly. I can see
Oh,
it on
good.
my side.
Okay, good. Well, we'll just let it roll then.
Okay,
You'll have to tell me when to stop.
you got it. It just keeps skipping back to the same
Okay.
point.
Okay.
But
All
what
right.
this
Well,
video is her rolling off the dry dock and into the water for the first time. This is for a ship. This is its birth, essentially, the first time she touches the water. It was a momentous day for Quark Expeditions. I remember we were watching it on a live stream. We had the entire company on a virtual all staff meeting, and the chills that go through your spine when you know, like, that is ours.
Yeah.
She is one of the most technically advanced vessels the shipyard has ever built, called Brodosplit Shipyard in Croatia. And she is, for us and for them, just a crowning achievement.
Yeah. Oh, well, the video, like you said, it does give you chills. And what I'm going to do is, when we're done and this is all downloaded, I'm going to put the links to both of those videos in the comments so that people can go look at them, because they are definitely worth seeing. And
Great idea.
yeah, this is, oh my gosh, this is just fabulous. So one other thing I'm kind of curious about. So you made the comment at the beginning that this was the first ship that was owned.
Mhm.
Did I hear that correctly by
You
Quark?
did.
Okay.
You did.
So tell me, what's the history been with the other ships, and why now the shift to owning something when you haven't before?
It's a great question. So through our 30 years, what we have had is long-term agreements for ships. And that has some advantages. While it's not a ship that we own, the advantage to it is it allows us to cycle through our fleet. As ships no longer suit our purposes, if they're no longer environmentally friendly, if they're no longer up to snuff for what we want to offer as an experience to our guests, we can cycle them out and bring in something else.
I see.
We have had everything from commercial icebreakers, which actually we still use 2 of them from time to time in our fleet. We have had small 78 passenger ships. We've had larger ships. We've had ships that are more luxurious, less luxurious. Early on, we had a lot of Russian research vessels, which were definitely not built
We're
for
not luxurious.
style, but they were utilitarian and they did the
Mhm.
job perfectly. And now what we're seeing is a shift in priorities. It's no longer just going to these pristine places and experiencing them with a company like Quark Expeditions. People are looking for more in terms of the onboard experience.
Right.
And so a colleague of mine puts it perfectly. With our 4 ships that go to Antarctica, for instance, we have a bit of a Goldilocks effect. We have
Okay.
everything from the small but capable and the tried and true. Her name is Ocean Adventurer at 128 passengers, all the way up to this magnificent, beautiful ship, Ultramarine, at 199 passengers. There's a ship, a style, and most importantly, a price point for
Right.
everybody. So
Right.
this makes it accessible for more
Nice.
folks. We believe that through our work in helping people experience these regions, we're also helping to preserve them. We have a tremendous focus on sustainability, and so we ensure that our ships are clean, that they are operating responsible. One of my favorite features on Ultramarine is the waste management system, believe it or not.
Okay.
It's not an incinerator. Incinerators produce a ton of pollution. What
Mhm.
it is a gasification system. So it takes all the solid waste produced on board, reduces it by over 95%.
Wow.
All that comes out of it is pure clean air and a
Nice.
little bit of this nutrient rich char. We call it
Uh-huh.
biochar.
Right.
So it allows us to reduce our footprint, to protect the regions in which we travel, and reduce our waste. Because when you experience it for the first time and you see how these regions are changing and evolving, you become curious. What can I do to help fix it?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so that's why we feel we create polar ambassadors through
Yeah.
our travels to these areas.
Nice.
So
Nice.
it's why That's a long-winded answer to your question.
No, but it's an
Why?
important. It's very important, and it's becoming more and more important to travelers.
Yeah,
And it's something that's very important to me. When I book my clients with certain companies, I want to know that they're acting in a responsible and sustainable manner,
yeah,
and that they are updating their fleets, whether it's ships or helicopters or whatever it is, that is something that's important to them. So, and it's one of the reasons I'm so impressed with you all. And one of the other reasons that I love you all is that you're virtuoso as well. So me
that's right.
being a virtuoso advisor, why don't you tell the folks what that means for them if they book through me?
Absolutely. Well, as a virtuoso advisor, you are able to provide them an exclusive amenity. Actually, we talked about that polar boutique on board the ship where they can pick up gear. Well, guess what? That's also where they can settle their onboard accounts for laundry or internet service, where they can book spa treatments. And just through booking through you, they're not going to spend any extra on their trip. Their price for Quark Expeditions trip is exactly the same that they would pay
Hmm.
elsewhere, but they
Right.
get a $250 per person shipboard credit. So that's $500 for a couple that they
Yeah.
can spend on board. And also, if I can be perfectly upfront with the people that are watching, I was a travel advisor, much like yourself, Robin. So besides the tangible experiences that they get, like the shipboard credit, they also get somebody that they can lean on. They have an advocate on their side. They have somebody to do all the hard work for them. You and I have a tremendous relationship, and together we can get things done for your clients that they would not be able to do on
Right.
their own. So, if there were no other reason, they should use you for the value that you provide. But part of that is, of course, with your partnerships with companies like Quark Expeditions.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And yeah, so for those people that are watching, I've got Chris on speed dial. So if there's any problems, there wouldn't be. I can't imagine there'd be any problems on a Quark
You know,
expedition, but
You know what? If Robin, if you and I both do our job right, it almost looks like we've done nothing.
right. Exactly.
And that
Exactly.
means we're doing something right. But where we also get to show our value is when things don't quite go right,
Right.
because it's our ability to resolve them and to figure things out so that they don't have to.
Yes. Yes, exactly, exactly. So, well, with that, I think that that's been a great amount of information for everyone. And once again, I am going to remind everybody that if you are watching the replay, please go ahead and type your questions in there and let us know, because we will get back to you on those. And for sure, want to be able to answer any inquiries. And I can't say enough good things about Quark. So, Chris, I'm going to hide you away for a minute here and do my closing.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thanks for
Thank,
tuning in.
yeah, thank you. All right. Well, that was wonderful. And always, always love having somebody from Cork on. And I just can't wait to get some of these fantastic sailings booked. So if that's up your alley, please give me a call, send me an email, DM, whatever. And remember to sign up on my website that just is scrolling across the bottom here to become a Klein and Company Insider so that you can get some weekly updates as well as a sample luxury itinerary that I update every quarter. So I'm a little behind this quarter, so it still hasn't come out yet. So you've got time for it. So see you next time.